So this will be the next sum that we will be solving. Till now, all the sums that we had solved had only point loads. But over here, you can see that there is something like this over here. This is what? This is known as a uniformly distributed load. What does a uniformly distributed load means? It means that the load is equally divided over the entire distance. What can be a real life example of this? For example, imagine that see, here you have a column, here you have a column, and here you have put a beam, right? And on this you are putting some kind of a surface, right? On this you are putting some kind of a surface. For example, when making a building, right? There is a column, there is a column, there is beam, and over that beam then there is the next floor, right? Now this floor is lying on the entire beam, so there is load on the entire beam, right? And how is this load? This load is uniformly distributed. What does uniformly distributed means? That it is equal everywhere, right? So that is what a uniformly distributed load is over here. So this is your beam. There are two supports A and B. There is a point load of 500 Newton and a point load of 1000 Newton, and a uniformly distributed load of what? 200 Newton per meter. Always remember that uniformly distributed load is given in the units of force per meter. So how many meters is it? It is of 4 meters now, and it is 200 Newton per meter. So it means that the total force will be how much? Total force will be 800 Newton, right? 400 Newton per meter into 4 meters, which will be 800 Newton. So first step, what is always the first step? That you have to take two pages side by side. On the left side, draw only the diagram, and on the right side, do all the calculations. So first of all, we will start with the left side. Here we are going to draw the diagram. See, 2 to 4 meters. So what you can do, you can take everything as 1 meter is equal to, 1 centimeter is equal to 1 meter, right? You can take 1 centimeter is equal to 1 meter. So your diagram will be 8 meters long. So we will draw a 8-meter long line, right? Sorry, I'll just make it straight. This is my 8-meter long line. Okay, let us say it is straight. Okay, so this is my point A. Here there will be a reaction force A. Here there will be a reaction force B. Over here there is 500 Newton. Over here there is 1000 Newton. And over here there is what? There is a uniformly distributed load, UDL. This UDL is what? This UDL is 200 newtons per meter, right? What is the distance? 2 meter, 2 meter and 4 meters, right? What is the first step that you should do after this? The first step that you should do after this is draw the force diagram, right? We have drawn the diagram same as that. Now we will draw the force diagram. So draw dotted line from here to the bottom, right? Here also from here to the bottom we will draw the dotted line. See, you have to do this all with scala, because I am doing it on computer. I am doing it roughly, right? Then what you will do, you will leave 4 lines over here and draw this. Now we have to find out the value of RA and RB, right? So we can find out, that will be our step 1. What will be our step 1? To find reaction forces. So to find reaction forces, we will do summation Fx is equal to 0, but there are no forces in x direction, so no need to worry about this. Summation Fy is equal to 0. So what will be summation Fy? Ra positive minus 500 minus 1000 minus what? Minus 200 into 4. 200 into 4 plus Rb is equal to 0. So this is Ra plus Rb is equal to 1000 plus 500 plus 800. So Ra plus Rb will be 2300, right? This is my equation number 1. Similarly, we will have our second equation. What will be the second equation? Summation Ma is equal to 0. right? We can take it about A just to make the calculation simpler. So what will be 500 Newton is rotating it in clockwise direction. So it will be minus 500 into 2. Again it will be minus 1000 into 4. Now what about this UDL? What about this uniformly distributed load? Now you know if any body has uniformly distributed load, where will be its center of gravity? Its center of gravity will be at the very center, right? The center of gravity will be at the very center. So in case of a uniformly distributed load, all the weight can be assumed to be acting at the center of this UDL. Okay, we can assume that the entire weight is acting at the center of this UDL. Where will be the center? At 2 meters from here, right? Total length is 4 meters now. So center will be at 2 meters. So what is the total distance? 6 meters. And what is the total load acting? Load acting is 200 into 4. So it will be minus 200 into 4 into 6 plus RB into 8. RB into 8, right? And this will be equal to 0. Summation MA is equal to 0. So we will put this as 8 RB. We will take everything on the other side. So it will be 1000 plus 4000 plus if we multiply to 6 into 4, 24 into 2, 48, 4800. So we are getting 8 RB is equal to 9800. So we'll get RB is equal to 9800 divided by 8. Just give me a minute. It is coming out to be 1225 newtons. Now substituting this equation in equation number 1, you will get RA is equal to 2300 minus 1225. And this comes out to be 2300 1075 newtons. 1075 newtons. So we have the value of RA, we have the value of RB. So we can write over here, we can draw this again diagram. This will be our force diagram, right? So here we have 1075, here we have 500, here we have 1000, here we have a uniformly distributed load. Okay, this has to be shown like this only. Yeah? Do not change it by a single force. Okay, 200 Newton per meter, 4 meters. And RB is equal to what? RB 1225 Newton. Right? So this much is done. What is the next step that we have to do? Next step we have to draw is shear force diagram. Right? So what do we have to do? We have to leave 8 lines over here and draw a horizontal line. Right? Now we can do shear force diagram. What am I going to do? I am just going to, rather than redrawing it below, I will just copy this part. Okay, I will just copy this much part. Okay, Control C, Control V, and I will just take it down. Okay, so I don't have to draw it again. That is the, okay, it doesn't allow us a Control C, Control V. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll just check, even I am doing this for the first time. Copy and paste over here. Okay, it does allow it. Okay, so I have this diagram. Now using this diagram I can do my shear force calculations, right? So shear force calculations, let this be point A, B, C, and this will be point D, right? So what is happening? Shear force just to the left of A, what it will be? It will be 0. Shear force to the right of A, it will be what? Plus 1075. Shear force to the left of B, right? It will be what? Only 1075. Shear force to the right of B, what will it be? 1075 minus 500 is equal to 575. Shear force to the left of C, right? It will be 1075 minus 500, which will be 575. Shear force to the right of C, what it will be? 1075 minus 500 minus 1000. Okay, we are assuming immediately next to C. Okay, I know that the uniformly distributed load has started, but we will assume that it hasn't started. We are just between C and the start of the uniformly distributed load. Okay, so what will be the value of this? 1075 minus 1500. It will be minus 425 Newton. Okay, so this one is done. Now we have to see shear force to the left of D. Okay, to the left of D over here. Okay, so what is happening? There is plus 1075, there is minus 500, there is minus 1000, and there is minus this load 200 Newton per meter into 4 meters, right? So minus 200 into 4, which is basically 800. So it will be minus 1225. And again, shear force to the right of D is what? It will be minus 1225 plus 1225, which will be 0, right? So shear force calculations are done. Now using these shear force calculations, we can draw SFD, right? So I will just start drawing the SFD. For A, what is happening? It is going from 0 to 1075. So I will draw from 0 to 1075, right? I will just change the color. See this red part, what I am drawing in red, you have to draw it first with pencil and then with pen. First of all, find the maximum value. Maximum value is what? 1225. So let us say that 1200. 4 lines is equal to 1200. So each line will be what? 300, right? So 300, 600, 900, 1200, right? 1225 is the maximum value, no? So something close to that. So 1200, right? So 300, 600, 900, 1200. First calculation is what? 0 to 1075. So 300, 600, 900, 1075 will be somewhere over here. So it is going from 0 to 1075. So this is the first line that we are drawing. Next, what we have to do? We have to go from 1075 to 575. So here we are at 1075. From here we are going 300, 600. So just below this, here it is 600, no? So just below this. This is 1075 to 575. Next, what we have to do? 575 to minus 425. Okay, so it will be 575 to minus 425. 300, 600, somewhere between 300 and 600. Negative, no? So this is the line. And at point D, what is happening? At point D, it is going from minus 1225 to 0. Right, minus 1225 to 0. So 300, 600, 900, 1220. So it will be somewhere here to here. Okay, so we are drawing this line, right? So what are the rules? The rule is for connecting these points, if there is no force in between, connect it with a horizontal line. So no force between A and B, I will connect it with a horizontal line. No force between B and C, I will connect it with a horizontal line. And there is a uniformly distributed load between C and D. So whenever there is a UDL, you have to join it with an inclined line. Okay, whenever there is a UDL, join it with an inclined line. So I am joining it with an inclined line, right? Because there is a UDL over here, na? So I am joining it with an inclined line, right? So this will become my positive and this will become my negative. So this is what? This is my shear force diagram, right? Now same to same, I have to do calculations for bending moment also, right? For bending moment, we don't have to do calculations before and after. Okay, we have to do sometimes. That point I will come to afterwards when we are working with moments. Right now, we just have to worry about bending moment at each point. Okay, so this distance is 2 meter, this distance is 2 meter, and this distance is 4 meter. So what is bending moment at A? See, remember in the last video I told you, you can calculate bending moment either on the left side or on the right side. and you can switch in between also, but preferably use only one logic. So over here, preferably always use only one logic. So I always consider it to the left. Okay, I will request all of you to follow this logic, right? That always consider bending moments only to one side, that is the left side. So bending moment at A will be what? Bending moment at A is 0. What is bending moment at B? Bending moment at B will be what? 1075 into 2. And it will be what? It is going to do what? If B is fixed and A is upward, so it will produce like this. So this is what? This is sagging. So this will be 1075 into 2, which will be what? 2150 Newton meter. Then bending moment at C. Bending moment at C, considering bending moment at C, it will be plus 1075 into 4 minus 500 into 2, right? So it is what? 1075 into 4, which is coming out to be 4300 minus 1000, so it is 3300 Newton positive. Why minus? Because of B, what is going to happen? If C is fixed, A is pushing it upwards, so it will produce sagging. What is B doing? B is pushing it downwards, so it will cause hogging, right? So that is why B is negative and A, bending moment due to B is negative and bending moment due to A is positive. Again, now we have to be careful. What is happening because of this uniformly distributed load? We can assume that this uniformly distributed load is acting at the very center. Okay, just like we did for the calculation of moment, for bending moment also, we assume that the uniformly distributed load is acting as a single point load at the center of this uniformly distributed load. So what it will be? It will be plus 1075 into, what is the distance from D? It is 8 meters, minus 500 into 6 minus 1000 into 4 minus, it will be 800, right? 200 into 4, 800 into 2, right? Why minus? Again, it will be acting downwards. It will cause hogging motion, right? So bending moment will be, I will just put this all in calculator, 1075 into 8 minus 500 into 6 minus 1000 into 4 minus 800 into 2. So I am getting 0, right? I just wanted to prove to you that bending moment to the left of D is always equal to 0, because there is nothing on the right side. Now you can consider the bending moment on right side also. I just wanted to prove to you that bending moment will be 0. So for the last point, I always write 0 directly. So some of you might ask me why you are writing 0 directly. In very rare cases, we have to do before after. I will explain that case, but at the end it will always be 0 because it is the last point. No? So some of you might ask me why you have written 0 over here directly without doing all this calculation. Because we can also consider the bending moment considering the forces to the right, and if you are considering the forces to the right, there is no force, so bending moment at D will always be 0, right? Hopefully you have understood this. Always remember, first point 0, last point 0, first point 0, last point 0. Okay, so we have to mark this on the bending moment axis, right? So we will go here, we will draw a horizontal line. Okay, here again you have to leave 8 lines, 4 lines for SFD, 4 lines for BMD. Okay, 1 2 3 4. Then what do you do? First it is 0, so here it is 0. Then at B, what is the value? 2150. What is the maximum value? 3300 na? So what I am going to do, I am going to do the simplest thing. Each division is equal to 1000. Okay, I know it is not going to, I should ideally take 750. Just to keep the calculation simple, I am taking it as 1000. Okay, so at B, what is the value? 2150. So just above 2000. Okay, Then what? Then we have 3300. So just above 3000 at C, and at D it is 0. Okay. Now what is the rule? If there are no forces between A and B, then the bending moment diagram should be an inclined axis. So there is no force between A and B. So it is an inclined axis. Again, there is no force between B and C. So it is an inclined axis. But what about between C and D? Between C and D, there is a uniformly distributed load. Na? So here the curve should be parabolic. Here what should we do? Here we should draw a parabolic curve. In simple words, see, afterwards I will also tell you about something known as a cubic curve. Okay, don't worry what is a parabolic curve, what is a cubic curve. Simply draw some kind of a curve over here. Okay, whenever you have a uniformly distributed load, you have to join the points with a curve. Now see, there are two ways of drawing a curve. Either it can be a curve like this where the curvature is upwards, or you can draw a curve like this where the curvature is downwards. Always remember, you have to draw the curve with the curvature upwards. Okay, so the curve will be something like this, right? This will be what the curve will look like. This is your point A, this is your point B, this is your point C, and this is your point D. You should write the values also. Here I always forget to write the values. So here it will be 1075. Then it will be 575 over here, 575. Then at the bottom it is what, minus 425, minus 425. And here at the bottom it is minus 1225, minus 1225, right? And here it is 0. And for bending moment it is 2150, 2150. And C is 3300, 3300, B is 0. Okay, so with this your bending moment for uniformly distributed load is completed. Always remember, for a uniformly distributed load, when drawing a shear force diagram, use an inclined line, and when drawing a BMD, bending moment diagram, use a curve. Okay, it is a parabolic curve, but forget about parabolic and cubic, just draw a curve. Okay, that much is enough. So this was our first sum on uniformly distributed load. I will solve another and post it as the next video. Thank you.